All right. Welcome to the Level Up Training Systems podcast. This is your host, Dylan Johnson. And co host, we have Nick Level Up at Level Up Training Systems. And we have a guest here today. We have Nate Speroni, who is also part of our powerlifting team. All right. So, Nate, you just competed at, I believe it was the Rhode Island Summer at the Bar. How do you think you did? And, tell us how the meet went.
Well, I came second in a three-person weight class,
Yep.
but guy in third was nowhere near us, but he still competed, so that was good for him. Um, Meet ran very well. I was pleasantly surprised at how it ran.
Yep.
Nick and Gleason did a great job running it. Went very, very well.
Yep.
Um, no complaints on my end about that because that was probably one of the better run meets I've done. It was a smaller meet, 18 people, so wasn't like it was a massive meet going into it. So no complaints from there. Um, Hit all new numbers besides bench. Bench kind of filled out there for me, but hit a new squat PR, almost hit a new deadlift PR in comp.
Yeah.
Um, Other than that, no complaints. Very, very good performance for me. Um, I attempted a good ballsy deadlift PR. Made a massive jump to see if I could lessen the gap between first and second, and almost locked it out, but eventually
Yeah. I believe
blacked.
that was 550, right?
Yeah, it was 551. I jumped from first temp was 490, jumped to 518, and then had the opportunity to pull myself within like 2.5 kilos of the guy ahead of me, and went for 551. Um, Pretty much locked it out, but then couldn't get a down command because I blacked out and was sent forward. So
Yeah. Yeah. Tell me about that. So did you lose consciousness, or did your vision just go black, but you were still there? I mean, what happened?
once I started going up, I could see like I wouldn't say like I still had control over my body, but when I got to the top of the lift, my eyes started rolling back in my head, and I started seeing black. And then I just was like, "Where am I?" And my body was like, "You're going to the floor."
Oh, okay. So you were starting to be a little bit out of it.
Yeah. I started losing consciousness, and had to put the bar down because there was no way I was locking that out.
You were
Yeah.
so
So
close, though.
so tell me about squats. You said that you hit a squat PR. What did you do?
I squatted 451. Um, it was my first meet ever at opening up at over 400. First time ever doing that. Made
Well,
me
congratulations.
very excited. Been a long squat's been a long, difficult road between a couple injuries and just squat not being an efficient lift for me.
I
But
think it's
now
gotten so much better, though.
it has. It's gone much better for me, and I'm happy to see it start growing again. Been the same for a while now, and to see
Yeah.
new numbers has made me very excited for this next meet upcoming. So
Well, I'm glad to hear that. So tell me, as far as the lights go, when you were doing your squats, was it you know, like three white lights each attempt, or did you get any reds?
no, they were all three attempts were all three white lights.
Well,
I didn't,
good. Well, congratulations. Yeah, no issues with depth.
no, I
Um, Sounds like you're getting a lot stronger, a lot more confident with your squats. That's always good to see.
mhm.
Um, and then now you said bench was a little bit sticky. What did you do on bench?
I hit 286, which is a tie for my last meet. I hit 286 at Carnage at Coliseum in October of last year. So I hit the same bench number. Um,
For your
just
third attempt?
second, I scratched my third because I knew I had nothing more in me. Because when I went to lock out on 286, my hip started cramping up and caused a decent amount of pain, and I didn't want
Yeah.
to fight through that on deadlift.
It might have been. Tell me, did you when you weighed in, were you doing any kind of like a water cut or like any kind of a weight cut regimen?
No, I just weighed in light on accident.
You were light.
I
Like,
was really light. I weighed in at 85 and 85.75. And I night before I was 193. I woke up at 188, and then when I went to get in the play, I went to weigh in. It was 85.
Yep.
So
Now that makes a lot of sense. Something that can end up happening is that when we end up weighing in a bit lighter, bench is the one that takes the hit.
yeah, usually bench and deadlift is my bread and butter. For the first time, bench felt awful, which is a new sensation for me.
Mm-hmm.
New issue. I usually don't have that issue on bench. Usually bench and lift. The squat causes the most anxiety for me because I've never been a consistent squatter. It's always never been a consistent technique for me. But now it is. Now it's getting much, much stronger, much better. Bench
Yeah,
is
I
always
feel the same
thing.
way. I feel like for me too, it's also been a point of contention. For me, the issue for a long time was depth. But then another issue also was that when I would load up the bar, the weight would end up feeling like really, really heavy on my shoulders, more so than it should have been. Did you feel like that was the same thing? Like when you go to, you're at lockout, you go into the squat, and then when you go into the hole, it doesn't feel that heavy. But when you're at lockout, it feels like it's going to be a lot harder than it is. Is that what you're talking about?
This meet, not really. It felt really light on my back. It felt really good.
mm,
Squat felt phenomenal. Heading into the meet and heading, well, actually attempting, squats felt phenomenal. So I knew right away,
Good.
as soon as I started warming up, I knew right away that I was hitting a PR today. Hitting a PR that
yeah.
day.
Yeah,
The
you're looking good.
the moment I started warming up, and then when I hit 407 for my opener, I was like, oh yeah, we have way more than I was anticipating.
So I just want to go back to Dylan's point here when like the squat could feel kind of heavy on your back or like not strong out of the hole. It could be like a programming thing, right? So like if the squat feels heavy on the back, it's just that you haven't got enough heavy exposures. And with Dylan in particular, in his training in the past, he would kind of like go a little too light on his back offs, and the top end like singles would feel like shit because they're like super heavy compared to the rep work. And it also goes back to the rep work when like you push out of the hole and your legs aren't like strong. It could be like not pushing hard on rep work or accessories. So it's a programming thing that we could fix if the bar doesn't feel heavy, if it feels too heavy on your back or something like that. And when what we did with Dylan was, and I do this with almost everybody's program ranges now. So I think that's helped out Dylan in particular. So he's starting to crush weights again on squat, and you
Yep.
leading up into this competition, I think it really helped you too.
I agree. Because I hit I think it was 4 weeks in a row. I hit a new squat PR every single week, every Saturday.
Sick.
It was something crazy. Because first time I hit 418, then hit 425, then hit 435, and then I hit 440 the week out from the comp. And so I hit like a bunch of other PRs in a very short amount. I mean, squat PRs in a short amount of time. Same thing with deadlift. I hit, I don't know, 3 or 4 deadlift PRs on the way into the meet.
Well, there you
Yeah.
go.
Something was moving
Yeah.
well.
Did you feel like in your training was there something you were doing different that was really helping you to grow your deadlift?
Well, I went and I started. This was the first time I've ever actually been able to train sumo for an extended period of time. Because for me, I used to pull conventional. I swapped to sumo because I used to use like a crutch. Once my conventional, like my back hurt and my hips started hurting, I would kind of crutch it with conventional sumo, where I could get the reps in. Um, and then I just was like, you know what, sumo's moving better and feeling healthier, so we'll switch to full time sumo. And then I didn't want to be that guy that, like, pulls from the plates. My feet at the plates were super wide sumo, and
Yeah.
then I was like, you know what, let me swallow my pride. And so I started. I widened my my stance, and it just started flying off the floor.
Oh yeah. As
I
long
just
as you maintain proper control of the bar so that you don't end up having one side of the plate smash your foot, then going
yeah,
with your feet out to the plates, there's no problem with that. It's
I'm
perfect,
not that. I
perfectly
still
fine.
have an inch or two from the plates, so I'm not like at the plates, but I'm pretty close. And then going into this meet, I've always had the past couple years. I've had tons and tons of right hip issues, and so I have a friend who's a physical therapist, and he did some work on the hips, on my right hip, and pretty much solved the issue I was having with it. And so that was 4 or 5 months ago. So past 4 or 5 months, I learned how to properly hinge and how to properly move around the hip, and immediately made a difference on squat and deadlift right away. And so I was able to lift pain free with the hip, and it
Well, I'm
made
glad to hear that. That makes a huge difference when you're not feeling pain.
huge.
Were you feeling pain during the lift, or would it be afterwards, or
So it
even
was pretty much everything.
okay? Because I've had it happen before where if something starts to feel raw, it can either be that I feel it afterwards, or I'll feel it while I'm warming up, but then it goes away during the attempt, or it can even be that during the working sets, something will start to feel cranky.
I
Uh,
had, excuse me. I had this hip issue for. I heard it in softball 2 years ago,
yeah.
and I thought it fixed itself about a year ago, and then it popped back up. So I've been dealing with this for a couple of years,
Okay.
and so finally we figured out what was wrong with it, and came up with a game plan and fixed it. And so now the hip feels my I the biggest thing for me was going into this meet. This was the healthiest I've ever felt. Like I had little to no fatigue going in. I felt super strong. This was probably the healthiest and strongest meet that I've ever gone into, like health wise and feel wise.
Well, I'm glad to hear that. I mean, it sounds like your trainings are getting a lot more on point. I mean, I myself, I'm feeling the same way. I can feel that I'm a whole lot stronger and a whole lot more confident than I have been in the past. So it sounds like, both you and I, we're both having our trainings getting really dialed in. Nick's been doing a phenomenal job of programming. So I just thought I'd put that out there and bring attention to that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of, you know, I appreciate that. It's also something like training through pain can be really tough, because like when you have an injury, your body just doesn't want to produce force. So like for
Yeah.
instance, I'm dealing with like this ankle thing and right, it's completely changing the way that I squat and like I'm not feeling really confident hitting depth. So it's definitely an issue like that you have to learn how to navigate around. So I give you a lot of props on that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
You
then
know,
we
Yee.
one thing I started doing myself, anytime that I had any issues, I'd go see a chiropractor just to get, the mobility fixed, just to make sure that the pain goes away. And but since I've started to, I got my shoulders got irritated for a while, then my pecs got irritated, and then for a while it was my back, and now I'm at a point where I don't feel like anything's really irritated. I even did a follow up appointment a couple weeks ago with the guy to go see if there was anything in there that was tight. I found that there was no issues. So, if anybody that's listening, if you're in powerlifting, it's best to get on top of these issues before they become a real problem. If you have an area of contention, like you have tightness in your hips, tightness in your knees, maybe there's some part of you that feels like tight when you try to move in a certain range of motion. The one thing you don't want to do is just be the guy that ignores it, because if you ignore it, sure, it might go away, but then there's also an equally likely chance that it's just going to flare up and get worse. And anytime that we get injured, anytime that we have to try to recover from something, it's going to end up impacting your ability to make progress and set you back. So the best thing you can do is just get ahead of these issues, do your stretches, Make sure you're drinking plenty of water. If you have an issue that is persistent and it won't go away despite doing everything that you're supposed to be doing, then trying to find someone you can trust who can go in there, massage the tissues, maybe apply heat, cold, massage, needles, whatever you got to do. Having somebody that can do that for you, that you can trust, is key, because it can really help you if you have any kind of injury that's in your way. Because anytime that you're trying to compensate, you're not getting stronger. You're just compensating for something that's holding you back because you're in pain. So trying to get around that is the best thing you can do. And even if it takes like a little bit of money, I mean, sometimes we have tight budgets. A really good way to go around that, let's say you don't want to spend the 60, 70, $80 to go get a chiropractor appointment. The best thing you can do is have a friend, have your spouse, your girlfriend, your boyfriend, whoever you can trust, have them give you a massage. Go to the gym, go to the sauna, use the hot tub, any kind of like heat therapy. There's all kinds of things you can do. Just look it up online, because if you can recover from anything that's making you feel injured, you're going to be on a better path to getting a whole lot stronger and doing a whole lot better.
Solid.
Yeah.
Hmm.
You
I
yeah,
agree.
you agree with me? Yep.
Yeah, man. So another thing, like I've noticed with the two of you guys, is like you're both kind of like locked in, but you're both also very good in the gym. Especially you, Nate. Like you've been training at the Coliseum, and Dylan and I actually did a whole episode on this, talking about like training environment. Do you want to speak on that a little bit?
Yeah, yeah, sure. That is, I for Coliseum, I have some of the best guys around me. I got a couple that hold me accountable, which is hilarious because um, they're a lot stronger than I am, and they like to pick on me for not being as strong as them. And they're like, but behind the scenes, I know they're not actually being jerks. They're doing it on purpose, and they've told me that. And so I got some
Yeah.
good that like
Lighting a fire. They're just lighting a fire under your butt to motivate you to
that's all
work.
they're doing. They and I make fun of them too. And so it's a really good training environment. Um, and you can see in the gym there's this switch that when it needs to get serious and you gotta hit a big PR, they're there behind you. They're there to cheer you on. You can see that the switch turn on in the gym where it's just everyone comes in. It's just, you know what, let's all hit this PR together. Let's cheer this dude on and get this guy to actually hit this and make himself better and improve on himself.
Yep.
It's a very totally different environment than we used to live to in LA Fitness, where it was just everyone puts their headphones on and does their own thing. Coliseum has a really good group of powerlifters there that it's more like a brotherhood than just a friend group. Everyone's roots for each other. Everyone cheers on each other.
Yep.
Everyone accountable. Um, it's a really, really good environment. And it's very key. I told Nick this a few weeks ago. Um, I've kind of had a change of heart towards powerlifting. I kind of was like, you know what? I've got to see what I'm somewhat capable of. And now I'm kind of like, have that devouring attitude. I want more. I want to get stronger. I want to do more. Um, and for me, Coliseum is the place to do that at because they push me.
Yeah.
They love to push me on certain things. And I'm just like, you know what? There's a funny story that happened. I had a friend of mine who um, he is on gear. He's a bodybuilder, but he doesn't train for strength. He obviously trains for aesthetic. And so he looked at me and challenged me. He goes, "You know what?" He goes, "You do your training method. I'll do my training method, and we'll see who benches 300 first." That pissed me off so bad,
Oh,
and I pushed so hard to bench 300. I think I got to like 292 like a month and a half later. I was pissed at him for saying that. And then he comes back to me and goes, "You know, I haven't benched since then, right?" I was like, "I hate you so much." He's like, "I only said to get you to bench more." I was like, "I hate you so much."
he doesn't bench.
No. And he goes, "I only did that to make you mad." I was like, "I hate you so much." But he's a good good buddy of mine that did it to me. I was like, oh, I can't stand you for doing that. But it's like things
Yeah.
like such a good training environment is such a key to making yourself better with powerlifting.
Yeah.
There's not much because if you surround yourself with people that are like minded, I wouldn't say want the same goals, but they have the same mindset as you. It's very important, and it plays a major role in this. If you go to like you'd never see a powerlifter go to Planet Fitness and expect to get big and strong and get huge because you are in the wrong environment for it.
Well, and also you might set off the lunk alarm and get thrown
Yeah,
out the moment you try to
you don't.
load up more than 3 plates on the Smith machine.
A lion can't be a house cat. You can't put You can't put people that want to be strong into a limited environment. You want to be in an environment that will push you, make you stronger, and allow room to grow.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. I myself, what I tend to do is, because of my job, I don't really have a whole lot of time to go to uh gyms that are not like regular gyms, like Planet, like the not Planet, the LA Fitnesses, the Esporta type gyms. I tend to try to get to the gym. I'll be there by like 5 o'clock, and so. But now that we have competitions coming closer, I'm gonna probably start trying to train more at Ultimate during the week, and then try to train at Top Strength on the weekends for the same similar vibe as what you were talking about at Coliseum. Those are two gyms that are also solid if you're trying to be a power lifter. They're good supportive environments. They have the calibrated plates. Um, there's going to be a lot of strong people in there, people who are not afraid to spot you. One issue that we come across often is that you'll go to a place like an LA Fitness, and you'll have a guy there that when he sees you benching and you're asking for a spot, he just started bench pressing. He's not this is a guy that doesn't know how to hand you weight, and then you're asking him to hand you 400 pounds, and
Yeah.
now he's worried for your safety, and then you're double thinking about whether or not you should be putting that in his hands. It's exactly what you described. This type of situation where you kind of want to go to the gym where people around you are going to be on a similar level as you, so that way they can. I mean, these are going to be people that have probably spotted thousands of times. They know how to handle somebody, how to spot somebody, how to do something safely. And if you're going to like a regular gym, there's going to come a point of diminishing returns on as far as what you can get out of a spotter,
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
especially considering your safety. But also, when you go to these gyms, I mean, some of these plates they're using are about an inch and a half, maybe 2 inches wide, and the weight distribution is completely off compared to calibrated plates. So like you said, going into the right training environment, being around combo racks, combo equipment, using the safety racks, you're gonna have better spotters. Sometimes driving a little bit further distance in order to get that extra bang for the buck is exactly what you need to do if you're trying to get more out of your training.
Mm-hmm.
How far of a drive is it for you, Nate, to Coliseum?
25 minutes.
So it's definitely worth it, though, right?
Oh yeah, its top strength is 38. LA Fitness is like 45. So
Yeah.
having open up so close to my house and work's only 20 minutes away. So having
Yeah.
it open up so close makes life so convenient. I'm lucky to have that. I'm lucky that Coliseum opened up so close to where I live, where I don't have to be driving an hour, 45 minutes to go to the gym, to go to a worthy gym. And the biggest thing I can say is because I made this mistake. My first time ever, I went to Top Strength Project with Andy for the first time, and the two of us were like, "Where in the world are we? What are we doing?" We were so out of our comfort zone that we had no clue. We almost started squatting on a deadlift bar, And thankfully, a friend of mine came over. Now he's a friend of mine. Came over and was like, "Hey, just making sure you realize at the deadlift bar, they will make fun of you for using that for a squat." And he goes, "We're like, appreciate it."
Mm-hmm.
And so, the biggest thing I can say is, don't be afraid to ask questions. Go find a front desk worker. Go find someone and be like, "Hey, am I doing this right? What do I do?"
Yeah.
Bashful. That is the best thing you can do when you go to a gym for the first time. Like, I've had people come and ask me questions. I'm like, yeah, you do this or that, because it's people that have the same goal in mind and just lift heavier, get stronger, and lift heavier. So you may see the biggest, baddest looking dude over on the bench press, but you know what? Go ask if, like, hey, how do you do this? Don't be afraid to ask questions. Obviously not in the middle of their set, but don't be afraid to like go ask questions if you have them about powerlifting, about stuff.
A whole lot better than being the guy that tries to rack their bar to ask questions.
Yeah.
Just mid-set, just grab his bar, throw it in the rack, and be like, "Hey, I have a question."
Yeah.
But so yeah, it brings me to like another point like that I think is important. Like just getting to know people at the gym and like having a good time with like some of the people that might be in the gym, because like believe it or not, like these sessions they last a long time, right? So you might as well enjoy it. You
Yeah.
know, I heard something. It's pretty, common that you have to give it 10 years in this sport to get really, really good. You know,
Yeah.
you don't want to be miserable with a bunch of assholes the whole time. You want to make some friends. You want to, have a good time. So I think that's important. When I go to train with Dylan or something, we're laughing, we're having a good time. He's cracking jokes, being a jackass,
Nick,
but
Yeah.
it's a it's
Nick,
a good time.
Nick got to experience that first message into the group chat.
Yeah.
Nick got to experience that with my buddies.
I just think it's important because like it does take time to get good at this. Like you've already started off pretty good, like because you had some guidance and stuff, Nate. But like, look how far you've come, and you too, Dylan. Like, look how far you've come from your first meet, which you guys both did good at. I think Dylan got first place, you got first place, and look where you're at now. Like it just takes time, and you just want to enjoy the process. And I think that's what the elite lifters do. They just don't have a problem showing up every day. They love it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It makes
It's
a
all
huge
about,
difference.
it's all about ebb and flow when it comes to the day in and day out lifting. Find that rhythm, find that groove. It's easy to fall out of groove, but try to find that groove. Find that group people, that gym, those guys that you like to go lift with. Find those guys and kind of don't let yourself get too distracted. I've been there, done that, turned a quick hour and a half gym session to 4.5 hours sitting there just talking.
Yeah,
Oh,
this is a good call for
talking
both you
track.
guys. Yeah.
Now we're much better. I've been getting through my workouts quick, and
Me
then
too. I'm getting better. Yeah. Me too.
and now talk afterwards.
Yeah.
A big
So
thing I
yeah,
do when I go to East Sporta, one problem I have is that like a lot of people they want to be really friendly, they want to talk to me, and I want to talk with them, but my workouts, I don't have enough time to get in everything, and especially considering the additional volume that's in the workouts now, I have to be more focused. So one thing I've started doing is putting in my headphones. Maybe like now, if it's light, if it's a more light day, what I'll probably do is like load up my headphones, put in a good audio book, and then just go through the motions, go through the workout, and then and then if I start pushing and it gets really heavy and a lot more intensity, then maybe I'll sort of blast fire and flames. You know what I'm talking about? Some of that power
yeah.
metal music. You know how I love listening to that stuff.
Just came from
Uh,
that hitting the face with my elbow in the mosh pit.
uh,
No.
oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Another one I started listening to was Gas 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 from Initial D. That one really gets me moving.
I got to go see a 4-band concert on Friday night, and I got smacked in the face in the mosh pit.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, that's like an elbow to the cheek.
Oof.
Yeah, mosh pits are wild.
I wasn't in the mosh pit. I was like on the outskirts, and it was so cramped. Some guy raised his hands and cracked me.
Yeah. Well, that's a good segue to another point too. Is that one way to try to stay on track is to watch out what we do when we're outside of training.
Yes.
Obviously, I mean, I'm sure you weren't trying to catch an elbow to the face, but just keeping that in mind in the future so that we avoid any kind of injuries that throw off our training. It's a good thing to do. But that it shouldn't stop you from, if your buddies want to go join the mosh pit and go to a concert, no reason why you shouldn't. But taking the steps to make sure that you don't get hurt, anything that could end up impacting your training.
Yeah,
really
and you have to be mindful of what you do outside and inside the gym. There's too many variables that can line up and totally screw up a training session. Going out, having a night on the town, getting super drunk, that's gonna affect your training session the next day. And I've seen that too many times. People are like, "Oh, my training session was awful today." Well, what'd you do last night? Well, I went to bed at 1 a.m. and I had a night on the town. Well, expected. That's kind of what's gonna happen. No matter, you don't control. If you don't control the variables on your end, then you're not gonna see progress, and you're gonna get mad at yourself because you're gonna be, you know what, I didn't hit the numbers I wanted today. Well, what'd you expect?
Well, and you do see that people do that, and then they end up losing motivation.
Yeah, and you didn't set up. You didn't set up the training session to be a productive one. You gotta realize that go in. Like when I was playing softball, I'd go play softball and then try to go lift weights, or I'd go do this and try to go lift weights. It's like I'm just putting myself in a pre-exhausted condition before I even go. I'm expecting to hit these nice numbers. I'm like, oh yeah, no, they're not anything like what I want to see. Well, duh, I didn't set myself up for that session to be a productive session. I was already going pre-exhaustion that was too high for what I demanded of my body on the lift I was attempting.
Yeah, my opinion, like as a coach who's worked with people who do play multiple sports, I don't think it ever works out, man. I don't think it does. Like you can only do one thing at a high level at a time. I feel like, there's a lot of carryover. I had a guy who was playing volleyball whose shoulder was hurt all the time. Just spiking the ball. You with the baseball and stuff. I think you got to just really put your effort, all your eggs in one basket here.
And that's what I did. You know what? I was dealing with a hamstring issue. I was dealing with the hip and the shoulder, and I was like, you know what? I'm like, I like lifting more than I like playing softball. So you know what? I'm taking the year off. So I left softball this year. I haven't played this year. And I have seen leaps and bounds in progress in weightlifting and powerlifting, and I'm kind of glad I did, because it's probably going to be the best year so far for me for powerlifting. Breaking off the rust that I formed over the past couple of years playing softball, putting myself in a pretty exhausted state where I'm not going to make much progress. And so it definitely is a game changer when you put your priorities towards this. Instead of just kind of putting this on the back burner and being like, oh, I'm going to do my sports first and then try to attempt this, because it's difficult to try to do two things at once like that.
For sure. I feel like that's something you did a lot better of going into this prep, and I think Dylan does a great job with this, like all the time. Like he's been really on top of it. He's the guy that walks around with the gallon thing of water that's got
everywhere I go
5 different supplements in it, and you know what I mean. And he go what time you go to bed, Dylan? At like 9 o'clock?
Yeah, about 9.
Yeah, like,
Gee,
Yeah.
oh man.
But he does it, and that's something that I noticed in this prep that you did a lot better. So going forward, you guys are headed into regionals. We're headed into regionals as a team. How's everybody feeling about that right now?
Feeling excited. What about you?
Yeah. I got to compete this weekend. I'm doing a water load right now. I'm finishing up my second gallon of water right now, and I'm eating Pop-Tarts and almonds, and I got to do this meet, and then I'm going to go balls to the walls at regionals, and I'm pretty excited, man.
I'm
I'm pretty excited for the team, too.
stellar.
You're feeling
Are you
stellar?
I'm feeling absolutely amazing already going into this meet. I am.
I'm feeling very confident myself. My as far as, especially when it comes to squats have just gotten phenomenal. Even on the volume sets, depth is not becoming like that. For me, it's always been an issue of, like, even when I squat down all the way, I've always had this issue where, like, my depth is like just there. It's just there. Um, if I try to squat deeper, I mean, I can already feel my hamstrings against the back of my calves when I'm midway down. So that whole cue of feel your hamstrings against your calves to know when it's time to come up, it doesn't really apply. I think the big thing is that when you end up having like bigger legs, it's going to apply less so, and more so you have to apply more to your cues and just feeling that bottom position under heavy load. And so
Yeah.
we've been this prep period, we've really been focusing on pressing, loading the weight, pushing the volume to get a whole lot stronger, and putting our eggs in the squat basket to try to grow everything else.
Yeah.
Mhm.
The old squat basket.
The squat basket. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah. And then we've also seen, deadlifts have gotten a whole lot better too. Just all around a really good prep period. We've really been focusing on building up legs as far as, like, as my concern goes, because one thing that's always been happening with me is that, like, I have like the upper body strength, but then my lower body just was not matching. And I feel that this prep period was probably the best prep period going into regionals that I think that I've ever had.
what are
And
we, 6 weeks out now?
yeah, about 6 weeks out, and it sounds like it's gotten a whole lot better for you, Nate. So I'm really excited about where we're going as a team and what we're going to be doing when we go to regionals now.
It's
Yeah,
gonna
Nate,
be.
you're in the junior and the open, right?
Yeah, I'm in both. There's a 90.
Nice. Nice.
Oh,
So you could eat up too. So
That's the plan. I've been doing very well with eating more.
yeah,
yep.
manja.
That's why this whole time I've been feeding French fries into my mouth,
I
trying to
have
see if I can do it.
Chinese takeout waiting for me in the fridge.
All
Well, all
right.
right. I think that's a good spot to end it. I just want to say this though before we go, Dylan. If you could squat 650 at regionals, you're going to be a force.
Let's
Nate,
go,
if you could
buddy.
add 7.5 to 10 to your squat, it's going to be good in the juniors, man. We're going to be killing it in the open too. So I think we just got to keep our heads down and keep pushing. You know what I mean?
Did
Yes, sir.
we ever open up the level or anything for sign up for the
What's
team?
that?
'Cause when I signed up for regionals, there was no option for level up training for the team member.
I still gotta sign us up.
Oh,
Yeah.
tisk tisk tisk.
So where are you at on Instagram, man? If people want to look at your lifts or whatever.
Mine is Nate_pepperoni.
All right. As
riding on the childhood nickname.
Yeah, Mr. Pepperoni Stick.
Yep.
All right.
All right, boys. I'll talk to you later.
All right. I'll talk to you guys later.
I gotta go
Have
sit on the
a good day.
toilet. All right.
Bye.
Bye.